Good morning and welcome to Harden Life Live. We are the Hardens and we're a family of counselors and coaches, and we love to take this Monday morning just 10 minutes to hopefully give you some tips to live your best life from both a therapeutic and a biblical perspective.
Yeah.
So it's sort of fun. I'm looking at our camera and Audrey and I are twinning.
I know.
Today.
I'm like, Mom, did you look at what I was going to wear before you picked your outfit?
I know. I started saying we're really working
I have
the
to
look.
say that black is typically your color, so I might have dipped into that.
Thank you.
Well, I'm so excited because this topic that we want to cover is something that we see every day. We see it in our office, we see it in our relationships, and I can't wait. You've been doing some extra training.
I have.
And it has been, I think, revolutionary in even the way that we have internalized this and the way that we communicate it. So what are we talking about today, Carla?
Well, it's really interesting, especially in this time right now that we're in. Even though things are looking a little bit brighter, the reality is what we've been through the last year, they're now saying is taking a toll on us.
Yeah. Well, and that's so true. And so I know that all of us are yes and amening over there, but the recent statistic that came out is that before the pandemic, about 28% of people reported mental health struggles or issues.
Like anxiety, depression,
right.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
And then since the pandemic, that number has doubled. It's almost 60% of people are reporting mental health issues.
Do you realize that's more than half our nation?
Yeah. That's insane.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, and yet, the crazy thing is, what we have learned, we started picking this up on our workshops, as well as with clients who sat with us. We all tend to minimize the things we go through when we're going through them.
Yeah.
We just think, well, it's rough, it's tough right now. And I learned that before 9/11 happened, in all our counseling books, there was nothing that was a diagnosis for trauma.
Yeah.
And 9/11 showed that something event-oriented could so disrupt your inner world that it literally could change your trajectory of your life. But here's the catch. Because we sort of lived through hurricanes, we lived through, alcoholic dads. But the problem we don't realize is that our living through it, we think we escaped it, and we didn't. And it actually pays forward into our thinking, our emotions, and even our behaviors and how we do relationships.
Yeah. So you're saying those things that we lived through and life kept moving on actually did more damage than we have been willing to acknowledge. And we can really tell that through our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors.
Well, because a lot of times, you and I don't know we've got a problem until we feel stuck.
Right.
Like, oh, my marriage is lousy. We're always fighting. Or I just am in a slump, a depression. That's when we sort of notice that life isn't working. But we're still moving. We're still going to work.
Yeah.
And so the problem with that is we're not recognizing the indicators that our internalization of what has happened to us has actually gotten tagged in our brain and even in our body to the point that we are not living as we truly are.
Right. Well, and I know that we have even said this before, but you can actually study someone's gut health and determine if they have had trauma or PTSD or not, because it literally changes the gut microbiome. I mean, it's that connected. And so we're wondering why we have irritable bowel syndrome and gut issues and autoimmune disorders,
fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue.
Oh yeah.
They now are recognizing that is the body's way of signaling us, you've been through something that was too much at the time for you to handle, and you created a loop. And when we create that internal loop, we really literally feel stuck.
Yeah.
And we're sort of not living on all cylinders in our life.
Yeah.
So I think, where we have to recognize is don't be so quick to minimize events in your life. And I've got to point to the obvious, and everyone thinks all therapists want to do is talk about your childhood. There is a reason we want to do that.
What is that reason, Carla?
Well, the reason is 85% of your personality is formed by age 12.
Wow.
And the two aspects that form is how you see yourself and how you see the world.
Yeah.
Do I see myself as valuable? Am I someone I want to care for, self-love and value in that regard? And then, do I see others as safe and able to be in meaningful connection with?
And meet my needs.
Hello.
Yeah.
Versus me just sucking it up and sort of going Teflon in life to where I don't trust anybody out there.
Yeah.
Or I feel I'm unworthy of someone meeting
So
my
you're
needs.
saying that those experiences of feeling like I'm not enough, or I'm too much, or the world, people can't be trusted, or all men are narcissistic, or all women are manipulative or nagging, that all those kind of ideas about self and others were formed typically below age 12 based on some of those disruptions in our development.
Well, and explain, Audrey,
Well,
what a disruption is.
well,
Because
I
this
was
is
gonna
so
say-
important for people to get.
Yeah, a disruption is, again, developmentally, I like to think of it like we're on a train. Like the train is on the track and it's going one way. Well, imagine if a car comes and hits the train off the track, and then it's going to not be able to go straight and keep going. It literally either stops it or gets it off kilter.
Gets derailed.
It gets derailed. And in the same way, our brain logs that as a disruption to our development in becoming who we are and how we see the world.
Well, and I know a lot of people will identify like this. Have you ever noticed that when you're in sort of a fight with your partner or spouse, you notice that they look like they're about 12 or 13? And you're going, oh gosh, grow up. Actually, that is because you have digressed back to that time of the interruption and disruption.
Yeah.
And you're sort of stuck there, and it's a scary place for your brain. Your brain does not feel safe because, and it's not like we have to have had, poverty to an extreme, or our parents divorced at 3. It can be, I had an emotionally absent dad, I had a critical mom, I had someone who jerked my arm when I was out of line, and those kinds of tiny negative experiences will cause our brain to go, uh-oh, this isn't safe. And if it happens a lot, man, we start to shut down.
Yeah. Well, and I think that why we're wanting to emphasize this so much is we all tend to minimize what we went through. And what we're noticing through the research is if we continue to minimize or neglect that which was done to us or that we experience, then we end up repeating these kind of negative patterns, and we live in self-protection mode or survival mode instead of fully living the life that God designed us to live. And part of that too, I think about, we all develop strategies to keep ourselves safe.
Absolutely.
And part of keeping ourselves safe is trying to prevent what happened to us back then, or even in our adult life, from happening again. So that could be anything from like micromanaging our spouse or friends or coworkers. It could be obsessing about things have to be a certain way in order to feel good. Things have to look a certain way with me, or it could be a way to cope and self-protect is overeating, over-drinking, and just numbing out, or really shrinking your world we've talked about that a lot.
Well, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. People are just, all of a sudden, they're paranoid to leave their house.
Yeah.
They can't even hug a friend. So those kinds of behaviors, and here's when you sort of know you need to get some professional kind of guidance or get someone to talk with, is when you see that your thinking, your feelings, your behaviors, or your relationships not where you want them, and you're not able to change them.
Yeah.
And you just feel like you keep hitting a wall. And it's easy to blame the other person, but actually it could really be, the hard hits that you did not know were hard hits in your life.
So we want to encourage you to check out our workshops. We've got Hardwired to Heal. We've got men's coaching weekends that you can check out on our website, and really take advantage of these resources to really be on the path to living your best life.
Absolutely. And the reason we even suggest that is sometimes you just need an intensive overview to figure out where you're at. That is what this is so good for.
Absolutely.
So tell them our website.
Okay, hardinlife.com.
And you can see I wrote a lot more on this topic on the recent blog.
Absolutely. Check out the blog, and we will see you next week.
Okay,
Bye.